So, Mr. Paxton, what made you run for governor instead of state representative re-election?
So I've enjoyed my time as a state representative for the last 3.5 months. I've been able to serve the citizens of Los Santos. A lot of what I ran on in my original campaign, making sure that open carry was legal for the citizens of Los Santos, making sure that our skies were safely regulated, and that we were able to have that as a possibility for folks to get into the air, and to ensure that we have a parks department, to ensure that we have a constitution. These are all things that have been done. The Constitution we're working on currently, but these are all things that I ran on that we're able to implement into law. And I just feel like I've accomplished a lot of what I wanted to as a state representative, but I feel that my role in the government is maybe moving to a more of an executive role, someone who can mediate disputes between departments and sort of guide policies and work with departments to figure out what the best way forward is for the citizens of Los Santos.
Perfect. And I mean, over to you, Mr. Ford. I mean, obviously we can see you going in for this election as well. Why are you seeing the election the second highest office in the state rather than legislature in re-election?
Well, part of the reason why I am running with James Paxton as Lieutenant Governor, I have enjoyed my time deeply and greatly with Mr. Paxton in office as state representatives, as we both have, accomplished a lot. We've been able to do a lot of things, and I wanted to seek re-election with Mr. Paxton whenever he, offered the lieutenant position to me as well. And I felt like it was a great opportunity for both of us to do better for the state of San Andreas. And I feel like a team like us, two people that are experienced in government, can be very successful. And, that's what I'm looking for. Someone that people can go to whenever they have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, they both go hand in hand, more or less. I mean, this one's kind of an open question for both of you, but what are your campaign promises? I don't know if you want to take it away first, Mr. Ford.
All right. So we don't have campaign promises. We've been able to accomplish a lot. As our time as state representatives, and I'll let Mr. Paxton, more or less speak on these as it is, more or less of his campaign.
Of course.
I am along for the ride.
Sure.
Yeah,
Thanks, Josh. So this is where it became a little bit tricky because, first of all, running as a governor candidate, we're not responsible for drafting laws. We can work with the state representatives to suggest things, but we can't propose bills. We can't, put these forward into the legislature. That's the role of the representatives and their role in the government. The executive is, a lot of ensuring that the government operates smoothly, that we have folks in the heads of these departments that are working for the best interests of the citizens of Los Santos, and that any issues that come up, because issues do come up, can be resolved expediently and in the best interests of everybody involved. And I think, my experience in government has been enough to bring me to a point where I'm able to do that with people, where I'm able to, sit down in a room with two people who run departments who have a lot on their plates, who are very respected people, and bring them into a common ground and find the best way forward for everybody. And that's something that I'm quite good at. I've been a sort of a jockey in the legislature sometimes, and so that sort of bringing people together, finding compromise, has been an awesome part of being a legislator. Like I said, working with the folks that I do has been fantastic, and we don't always agree on things, but we always find a way to find a compromise in the end. In terms of what I'd like to see as governor, I'd like to work with the Department of Commerce and Labor to find some incentives to make people want to open businesses up in Sandy Shores and Paleto. I think these areas could use some economic boom that they perhaps haven't seen up until now. I can say that there are a bunch of businesses in both locations, which is awesome, and I love to see it, but I'd like to see more. I'd like to see some of what we have in the city spread out to different parts of the state. So that's something I really want to work on. But you have to keep in mind what a governor can do, and so I want to work with my executive department heads, the chief of police, the sheriff, the surgeon general, to make sure that our departments are functioning in the best way that they can for the citizens of Los Santos so that we can do something about the crime rate, which we all know is quite high right now, so that we can ensure that people are getting the medical care that they deserve and the information that they deserve from doctors. I'm a huge advocate for making sure that you go and get your annual checkup. So if anyone here is listening to this interview, please go get your annual checkup. The doctors at Mount Zona are fantastic, and I highly recommend them. These sort of things are really important to have, and these are services that people may not know are available. And I think that working with our departments to make sure that the government's operating smoothly and efficiently and advertising these things and getting the word out, I think is an awesome job for a governor to have.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like extremely good qualities as well from a governor's perspective. I mean, what other qualities do you have, Mr. Paxton, that are going to make you a good governor to lead the people?
Well, I'm a very steadfast leader. I will listen to everybody's side, and I will pick a position that really best suits the state, and I'll try and bring sides together. Often compromise is the way forward. Sometimes there's one side that's clearly right and one side that's clearly wrong, and that happens. But a lot of the times, both sides come from good intentions. They just need to find what the best method of getting getting done what they want to get done is. I'm very available to be contacted by any of our department heads. I've mediated disputes in the past, and I think a lot of what a governor does in the state comes down to that. I also like to think that I have a lot of legal experience now, working in the legislature for so long and passing as many bills that I did, of course, with the help of my fellow representatives, that I would be able to bring that experience to the governor's office to act as a guide or a source of wisdom for the new class of representatives, whoever they may be that come in. And I think that having someone who can help out in that regard, who can provide some light, but let the legislators do their own thing to do the job that they're elected to, is very important. There are different branch of government. It's separate but equal. I'm not going to force laws that I want down the throats of the legislature, but I'm always going to be there to help them out and make sure that that they have the information that they need. And if I think that they're doing things that aren't in the best interest of the citizens of Los Santos, I'll make that aware to them. The powers of the governor are great. The office is highly respected, and I think that I can give it the respect that it deserves.
Perfect. I mean, Mr. Ford, I'll switch it over to yourself. I don't want to riot on the stage here between the two of you, always getting the most questions out of me. But for you, Mr. Ford, if you are elected to the role of Lieutenant Governor, what experiences can you bring to the table?
Well, I am currently a state representative. I think I can bring the past experiences of me writing legislation and, working with the legislature to the table, being a person that people can come to, ask questions, and, be a more or less of a, liaison between people, not acting in official capacity, but more or less of acting as a person that, they can go to help. And making sure that people know what the people do want. I feel like another experience that I have is I am a previous judge. I have a lot of experience in the legal system, and I think I can bring that to the table as well. And overall, I think we have had a very successful, last election, and I think overall we've been able to accomplish a lot during this term. And I think myself and James have a lot to bring to the table because of that.
Perfect. I mean, you mentioned obviously about bringing different things to the table, different aspects, into the role for the both of you. Is there anything that you both would like to improve from a public safety perspective? Obviously, you've mentioned people getting checkouts through Mount Zuna and the different medical centres across the state. Is there anything that you guys are looking to put in place, from state representatives all the way down to EMS workers, law enforcement? Are the measures that you're looking to put in place for those?
So first of all, something that I think has been lacking in the current term is meetings of the executive branch. These folks are the folks that fill up your cabinet, and your cabinet is what makes the state operate. And I think having regular meetings between departments to make sure that they're working effectively together is very important, and something that may have gone without during the current term, and something I would certainly bring back or make a thing if I were to become governor. It's about trying to find the best way forward. Crime is a very tough topic, right? What's the best solution to crime? I don't think anybody can answer, or at least they can give their opinion on it, but there's no one right answer. I personally think that the solution to the crime rate is a lot of small things put together, small changes that over time build up to make a safer city. I'm a strong believer in rehabilitation. I'm a strong believer in lowering the remittance rate, and to find ways to be able to lower that remittance rate is important to me. And part of that is going to be reaching out to my colleagues in law enforcement. I'm a legislator. I am a lawyer by trade, but I don't know what's going on the streets every day. I'm not there enforcing the laws. And so these are things I don't see. And so I have to reach out to the subject matter experts when it comes to that. I believe the Department of Corrections is being started or has been started. I'm not entirely sure. And I'm glad that it is, because our corrections department will be able to hopefully implement maybe some programs to set people on the right track. I think that the remittance rate is a big issue, and if we can cut that down even a bit, it would make a difference. And I think a lot of small changes will act towards cutting that down. If we try and make a big change, I think it's something that might backfire.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to make a huge change that quickly, you're going to get bucks in the system 100%. And it's good to see that it's not going to be a case of you take over from day one and everything's scrapped from day prior and you're brand spanking new into it. So yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. One of the topics that tends to come up quite a lot when we discuss government and discuss public sort of matters in that respect is corruption. Do you have an opinion on corruption within the government itself and what your stance is and how you're going to combat that?
Well, I am not aware of any of the executive department heads being corrupt. I know that folks like to throw that word around like it's cotton candy, and the fact of the matter is, not everything you don't like is corruption. Well, I am sure there are some unsavory parts of the government, and it depends on what level you get down to. I know the chief and the sheriff and the surgeon general, and I have confidence that if proper reports are made to them, that they would action anything that might be considered corruption if it had merit. I think a lot of people use that word in an incorrect sense, or to describe something that isn't necessarily corruption. The government of San Andreas has to work for its people, and I am strongly committed as governor to ensuring that it does. And part of that is, if departments were found to be corrupt, I would have to deal with that, and that is something that I could deal with. Corruption is not something I would tolerate. It diminishes the public support in government, and that in itself, the government's interaction with citizens is such that we can't have corruption. It doesn't work. It's something that's very harmful to people. And so one person might be benefiting, but all the citizens of this great state are losing out. And no doubt I would address that if it came to that. But like I said, I have full confidence in the current department heads to address things as they come up if they have merit.
Perfect. Well, gentlemen, the floor is yours. If you want to speak to your voters directly, by all means, give your sort of final closing statement and message.
Sure. I just want to really say to the folks out there, if you're supporting me, if you're not supporting me, make sure you get out and vote, no matter what. Your right to vote is very important. It's sacred. It's a duty. And so when the polls open on September 2nd, I hope you are first in line to go and fill out a ballot, regardless of who you're voting for. I think I have a lot that I can bring to the table. I think I have a lot of experience and have done a lot of good for the citizens of Los Santos. And if you ever see me out there in the streets, come have a conversation with me. I'd love to meet you, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about how the government can do better for its people.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, gents, for coming today. You heard it your first, people, from Weasel News to your ears and eyes. We're hot on the subject of election and very much looking forward to the 2nd of September. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.